Okay. Let me know if you guys can hear me. This is the first time we are, can you guys hear me? Yes, yes. Okay, this is OBS. We're not using StreamYard today. OBS, baby. OBS. Let me, get some things in order here, folks, because this was a very interesting, morning. So hold on. This was weird, bro. So StreamYard has having an issue today. StreamYard's not working. That's the issue. StreamYard's not working. I looked across the entire, I just went on Twitter and there's a bunch of people that stream that just said, hey, StreamYard's not working today, so be careful. So we're using OBS, and I haven't used OBS since 2022. I don't really know how to use OBS, but we're here. I think I should be able to figure it out. We should be okay. You guys can hear me, right? And we should be good. We should be good. Let me sign in right now so I can send chats on this side from my angle. This should work. And then yeah, I think we're live. Now OBS, the stream actually should be more high quality on OBS, to be honest, because it captures like the full pixels of your camera. But it I don't know, it's always, sometimes there's a delay, there's always a bunch of random things that happen here. And it should be okay, but let me make sure. Show goes on, baby. Show goes on. Show goes on. All right, do I have to do two-step verification for this thing? Do I have to do that? Okay, forget it. We're not doing two-step verification. All right, so I'm gonna have my chat on this side, or we'll just have it on YouTube because I can't see the chat on OBS, but so we'll put it up on YouTube. Here we go. Okay, yeah, you guys can see me. It's working. It's worked. So now if I switch the screen, if I want to show you guys Weeble, hold on, let me pull up Weeble. Let me do this. Does that work? Let's see. Let's see. Do we have two screens? I think you guys can see it, right? You can see it? Okay, there we go, baby. There we go. Yo, StreamYard might have lost themselves a customer right here. If we can use OBS. OBS doesn't cost me like $500 a year. I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know. I think they might have lost. We'll see. We'll see. The quality's got to get a little bit better, but okay. So what I was saying when I was muted in the morning was that StreamYard kind of saved me. So I definitely overslept. I don't know what happened last night. I think someone in the comments said Amit did 3 streams and he overslept with the Robinhood Weekly. Maybe, bro. I don't know what. It's a random Tuesday. I should not be oversleeping. But I slept so good and I woke up and I just didn't even care. Like I don't know what happened last night. I slept. But, even if I had not overslept, I would have waken up and StreamYard wouldn't have worked. So technically, I mean, there is no technically, but basically StreamYard made it, StreamYard softened the blow of me oversleeping. But now we got OBS. We're working. So here we go. That was staged. It was not staged. I don't think I can put comments on the screen. So this doesn't have a feature that lets me highlight comments. So won't be able to highlight comments today. But nonetheless, we are still live. And we should be able to get started on this market open. Is the audio a little bit delayed? It might be, dude. There might be some issues here with this one. OBS. The reason I stopped using it in 2022 was there was always a delay. Always. And you could tell there was a delay. Yeah, there's definitely a delay. I see it right here. I just left the Weeble on my camera, and it's still there for you guys on YouTube. That's the issue with this thing, dude. There's always a stupid delay. Maybe that can be fixed, but yeah, there's a little bit of delay. All right, so there's like a 20-second delay, but that's okay. We'll still be able to try to do what we can, and I'll try to answer whatever questions I can answer. Hopefully StreamYard fixes itself by the end of the day. That's weird, bro. That's weird for StreamYard to have these issues. That's weird. But all right, let's get started. Google. So I think Google is the first thing that we got to talk about today. Quantum computing, folks. It is back and it is exciting. And for those that have been constantly saying, hey, look at quantum computing, well, Google made it a real thing yesterday. Google introduced Willow, which is their quantum computer, their new quantum computer. And I was pretty impressed by it. I don't know a ton about quantum computing, but essentially, Sundar said it can solve a problem in 5 minutes that would take a regular supercomputer 10 quintillion years, or sorry, septillion years, which is equivalent to 10 to the 25 years. And as a result of that, well, you got Google that currently the market's thinking, wait a second, we've said these guys know nothing about AI, ChatGPT's taking their lunch, yada, yada, no innovation. Google, oh my God, holy crap, folks. You guys see this? Google's up 4% in the pre's. I did not even see that. Google is up 4% in the pre-market. Yeah, take a look at that. So you got Google right there up 4.52%. Didn't even know that they were up today. 185. I think it's I don't think they announced anything. I think this is primarily based on this quantum computing news, and it makes a lot of sense. I mean, if you take the sort of the logical extreme of what quantum computers can do, you get to the evolution of, hey, well, maybe AGI is possible via quantum computing, and if Google has the quantum computer, aka Willow, that can solve all these things, well, ChatGPT might not have a head start against them anymore. There's a bunch of different applications, I think, that are use cases for quantum computing. But the point is, Google is changing the narrative by that announcement yesterday. And Sundar is basically showing the world, no, we are innovative. We are a smart company. We do a lot of crazy things. A lot of them don't work, but the ones that do work, you got to give us some credit for. And that's why Google is getting the momentum that they're getting currently right now. So I think that's really exciting. Google already was relatively cheap, obviously trading at 18 times 2026 earnings. Let's look at some of the other Mag 7 in the pre-markets. Apple's up a little bit, 0.28%. Microsoft's down. Meta's up a little bit. Google, again, up 5%. They are taking the lead right here. Amazon up 0.2%. NVIDIA basically flat on the day. And then Tesla up 0.75%. Tesla got upgraded again to $400. We'll talk about where they got upgraded from. But there you go. You got Tesla right here at 392. So I think the story of really yesterday was Google. I think Google obviously is still a buy here at these multiples. If you don't believe the DOJ is going to kill them or that their search business is going to go down, I don't know necessarily if it deserves to be up 5% just because of quantum computing, but I think it's a narrative shift, right? I think it deserves to be up 5% just because it doesn't deserve to be at 177. But the narrative that Sundar put out yesterday is making people a lot more comfortable with Google as an innovator. And that's why you're seeing Google get some momentum right here at 185 currently in the pre-market. So that's what we got in the context of Google. Now let's take a look at what else we got going on across the markets. We've got Alibaba down 2.8%. China imports and exports actually came in much lower than expected. So like their legit economy is just not doing good. That's why FXI, the large cap China ETF, is down 3.9%. Now, China was up 8% yesterday. Why? Because their stimulus is stimulating and a lot of people got excited. But the problem is the stimulus is needed because of something bad happening. And the bad thing that's happening is that their economy is falling apart. So when imports and exports miss by that level of a degree, you get a lot of people thinking that China is potentially at a risk of a recession. Now, I think they'll avoid that with all the stimulus, but that stimulus is the reason you buy. And that stimulus is also the reason you remember that things are not the best currently right now in China. So that's why Alibaba, NIO, all those Chinese stocks are currently down in the pre-markets. Real quick, in terms of the Google decryption thing, so there are some mixed thoughts on this. I don't think, I asked on Twitter yesterday, I was like, hey, is like Google the reason for why Bitcoin fell to 94,000 yesterday? Because Bitcoin did have a flush all the way to 94,000 from 100, and a lot of people said it was because of crypto. It was because of quantum computing that is able to decrypt blockchain addresses, aka stealing Bitcoin, rendering Bitcoin useless. So this was, I think, the best answer from someone, which I think is the objective answer on this, which is right here. Every now and then when a quantum breakthrough makes the news, concerns popping up about the possibility of breaking into Bitcoin happens. However, GPT estimates you need around 1,500 qubits to even take a shot at Bitcoin within a 10 to 20 year time frame. But when companies like Google start making announcements, markets start paying attention. For what it's worth, Google Willow is a 105 qubit chip. So it's a big deal having that many qubits, but you need 1,500 of them to really start making any progress of actually cracking through the cryptography that is encrypted within blockchains for Bitcoin. So I could understand why it flushed because it's a headline. I do think that was a dip that people took advantage of. So it didn't seem like it was that serious of a deal. But if that was the reason we had a 94K flush, then that was, just Bitcoin being Bitcoin, reacting to any random headline. And apparently every cycle people have said that this whole quantum is going to kill Bitcoin thing pops up. This time is no different. You just had a little bit more progress here by Google. And that's why it's happening currently right now. I'm probably saying qubit wrong. I don't care because at this point, I don't know if I can say any of these unique words correctly. But it is what it is. You guys get an amitism instead of having to hear the proper pronunciation of the word, which is better than saying it properly. It's qubits. Okay, it looks like qubit. All right, it doesn't look like qubit. Dude, I'm not even trying to do this. I'm not trying to be funny. This isn't a bit. This isn't an act. Like, when I can't say these words and I just try to say something for me to get through the word, it's because that's genuinely what I think the word sounds like. And it's very ironic, I know, because I speak for a living and I did public speaking and debate and all this stuff, but there's certain words I can't get. I just can't get. I don't know what it is, but I can't get them. Bitcoin right here, 97,000. Ethereum as well, 3,700. Both of these, Ethereum was down at 3,500 today, so that one's up a little bit. And then you had XRP as well. That's at 220. That fell to 202. Now let's look at the crypto proxies. So Hood is up 0.66%. We had Hood Weekly last night. Thank you to everybody who joined. I thought that was a fun discussion. And every week we will be doing Hood Weekly Mondays at 9:30. MicroStrategy's up 2%, but MicroStrategy took a beating yesterday, down 7.5%. So MicroStrategy definitely took a beating yesterday as Bitcoin got flushed. Currently up 2%. December is not going the best for MicroStrategy, but November was really good. It went from 200 to 550. So it's kind of settling into a range right here, but there was a big run in December or November kind of preempting this Bitcoin to 100K. Marathon's up about 1%. Hut 8 Mining's up 1%. IREN is down 0.4%. CleanSpark's up 2%. Coinbase is up 1.65%. Coinbase was down 9% yesterday. CleanSpark was also down 9% yesterday. And Riot is now the third member of the Bitcoin Treasury Committee, if you want to call it that. MicroStrategy and Marathon are doing it. Now Riot is doing it. They raised $500 in convertible notes. Not $500, $500 million in convertible notes, and they will be buying Bitcoin. Their stock was down 13% yesterday as well. I think they're going to need some Bitcoin momentum for the street to get excited, but they are continuing to do the Bitcoin arbitrage that some of these other companies are doing as well. Let's take a look at the semis and how the semis are doing. Mag 7 are doing pretty good this morning. Crypto is up about 1 or 2%. NVIDIA is up 0.15% again. NVIDIA got investigated by China yesterday for being a monopoly, which is the most ridiculous headline ever, but that is what happened. That is what's happening. So NVIDIA was down 3% yesterday. Now it's up a little bit. AMD took a nasty beating as well yesterday. I'm not sure why AMD went down, to be honest. Maybe just like a piggyback off of NVIDIA, but AMD was down 5.57%. I know a lot of people yesterday that bought the dip. There's a decent amount of people that have been buying NVIDIA in this 130 to 140 range. So if you believe in it, there's definitely a big community out there that is thinking that this is a pretty oversold level for AMD. AMD right here down 5.57%, but it's up a little bit in the pre-market's up about 0.5%. SMCI is down 1.6%. SMCI gave away all their gains. They were up 10% yesterday, gave away all of that towards the end of the day, ended the day up 0.5%. Now they are down 1.74%. Intel is up a little bit. On Semiconductor is down. All the semis are pretty much down. Broadcom, Qualcomm, TSM. We'll have Broadcom's earnings tomorrow, but semis in general kind of just staying flat and not really doing too great after November, where IGV, the software sector ETF, definitely outperformed SMH, which is the semis ETF. So that's what we got in the context of semis. SoFi. So SoFi was downgraded yesterday. SoFi's still getting hit right here. They got downgraded to $12 by Bank of America. Again, the analysis was primarily on the idea that shares have run up too fast. Valuation is getting ahead of itself. Tech platform is not going to show the type of growth to justify this valuation. And fair value accounting would suggest that if you look at SoFi on a tangible book value, then, you know, if you put a price to book multiple, SoFi is theoretically overvalued. I think the downgrade was kind of weird, bro. It was one of those downgrades where they're just trying to stop. It felt like they were just trying to stop the momentum. And try to like put out these concerns from the past and bring them back to light. And it's like no one was thinking of any of these concerns outside of maybe the tech platform. But, you know, everyone's giving Noto a couple years to say, hey, can you get the tech platform to grow? But outside of that, no one cares about fair value accounting. No one definitely cares about overvaluation when the stock was stuck at $7 for almost 3 years. I mean, like, okay, it broke out. Yeah, it was. You could argue it was undervalued for 3 years if you're saying it's overvalued at 15 right now. So I don't know. I think it was a very weird downgrade, and it was one of those things where I think a lot of people ignored them. I know it went down 3% yesterday. It's down about 1% right here. But on a regular day for SoFi, that downgrade would take them down 8 or 9%. And we've seen that many times in the past. This time, I think it held up like a champ. And people kind of saw through it. And they said they can probably move forward from there. Palantir. Let's talk Palantir. So Palantir is up about 0.18% in the pre-markets. You know, Palantir was down 5% yesterday. Here's a stat. Here's a stat that I think you guys will like. This is a good one. So shout out to Geis who gave me this stat yesterday on YouTube. Palantir from 82.70 to 71, which was the overall decline yesterday that it experienced, lost $20 billion in market cap. Palantir in 2022 was worth $18 billion. That's wild, right? That's wild. So for all the complaining that Palantir fell yesterday 7% or 8% or whatever, it lost the amount of market cap that it used to be worth as an entire company back in 2022. So, I mean, look, Palantir, I think at 82.70, the market was like, all right, we're taking our profits right here. And it got overextended, and people said we can't pay $180 billion for something doing less than $3 billion in revenue. And so it sold off. Now, I don't think that's that big of a deal. I don't think a lot of people think it's that big of a deal. I think the big thing right here is that we are holding the 70s, folks. And today is going to be a very important day for Palantir. If we have another 5% decline and we drop below the 70s, which yesterday we held the 70s like a champ. I mean, we pretty much for 7 hours yesterday, we were above 71 and we closed at 72. Then I think we are hopefully normalizing the process of being in this $70 range. If we fall below 70, would I be surprised? Absolutely not. But we do have to keep an eye out for that, because yesterday was a nasty day. If today continues that nasty day, you might end up getting into a little bit of a downtrend. And then the question becomes, where's the bottom? Where do people step in to buy the dip? What becomes kind of the floor for the stock? And we're going to have to see kind of how that plays out over the next few weeks as well. Okay, we got 30 seconds until the market open. It's going to be delayed no matter what, because I can see on my second screen that you guys are listening to me talk about something from 30 seconds ago. So the market open will happen at 9:30 for you guys. But we will still open the markets. I'm happy we got to do the stream, yo. I was like about to put out a tweet that we can't do the stream, and then I was like, wait a second, I have OBS. Let's see if we can figure this out. So we got OBS and we got it. We got it done. All right, here we go. 9:30, Tuesday, December 10th. Even though you guys will hear the bell 15 seconds later, the stock market is now open. Dude, I haven't even rang the bell. I'm looking at my iPad. I'm literally looking at myself just ringing the bell. This is so dumb, bro. For those that are here, we're streaming on OBS because StreamYard messed up the audio today across their entire servers, and we can't use our basic software. So that's why we're using OBS today. All right, here we go. Google is up 3.8% as we open up into the markets. 183. Grab, which was up 4% yesterday, is down 2.26% today. So Grab right here going down about 2.26%. Robinhood opening well above $40. Not bad at all. Look at that. 1.6% on Robinhood. $40.25 on Robinhood. Oracle right here, 172, down 9%. Oracle had a good earnings. We'll talk about Oracle in a second, but it wasn't good enough given the stock was up 80% year to date, and that's why Oracle is down right here 9% just because they missed on the top and the bottom, and you know they were priced to perfection at this point. They weren't able to miss. SMCI right here down about 3%. Rocket Lab is up a little bit, 0.65%. Reddit's up 0.53%. Nvidia's up 0.6%. S&P 500 is up slightly on the day. Enphase is also down slightly on the day, but it was up about 7%. Marathon's up 1.3%. MicroStrategy is up 2%. IONQ, which is this quantum computing name that was at $11, now it's at $34. That one is up 0.76%. Kava continues to go down. That's 1%. Where's Palantir? Oh, Palantir's red. Palantir's red. Palantir's down 0.67%. The audio's cutting in and out. Let me try to adjust the audio. Okay, I just switched the audio. I'm going to switch it back to the same camera. I'm going to switch back to the same, or the switch is same mic. That should be good. Let me know if it's horrible. You guys should experience it in a second. One sec. Okay, I just switched the. Okay, we just switched it. It should be better. I think. Palantir's at least green right now as we're seeing it. Is that good? That should be good. Let me know if it's horrible. Okay, I think we're good. We should be good. Okay, cool. 72.73 on Palantir, up 0.39%. All right, so Palantir, we got green. SoFi, look at that. SoFi, 15.88. SoFi's up 2%. SoFi's up 2%. So SoFi not really caring about that downgrade right here. A lot of buyers stepping in right now, trying to get back to $16, which would be incredible even after that downgrade. That would be amazing. Even Robinhood, $40.22, up 1.75% of the day. Robinhood doing good as well. Rocket Lab, 23.85. Ethereum, 37.25. Casey's General Stores, they beat on the top and the bottom line. They're down 0.37%. Hershey's is at 194. Again, Hershey's was potentially getting acquired yesterday, and that's why Hershey's was up, and they're continuing to keep their momentum. Tesla, 395. This is also very exciting. Tesla 395. Yeah, if you have sound issues, restart YouTube. I think it might be for a couple of you guys. It might not just be for me. Yeah, for most of you guys are saying the sound is good. So if it's bad, I think restart YouTube and see if it's still happening. It should be okay. It should be alright. This is also very exciting. Tesla 390. Yeah, I'm looking from my phone. It's good. For my phone, it's good. It might just be it might be your YouTube. YouTube's having some issues today as well. Okay, so right here, Tesla 396. And if it's still bad, just put it in the comments and we'll see if it fixes. 396 right here, 0.22 on Tesla. Volume on Tesla. Let me check resistance back to 400. We hit 400 yesterday. I really do think there's a shot we hit 400 again today, and it would make sense. MicroStrategy as well is up today, 374. Tesla right here. Audio's fine. Okay, good. Audio's fine. 396 on Tesla. 400 resistance for Tesla. Optimus had a new video yesterday, and people are getting excited that Optimus is going to start making some real progress soon. 400 resistance for Tesla is 2,000 shares. That is not resistance at all. There's no big walls until we get to 400 or like in the 398, 397 range. I mean, at 398, there's 78,000 shares, so maybe that's your resistance, but that's not a ton of shares at 398. So if we can get through 398, I think we get into the 400s, and that would be ultimately taking Tesla back into this $400 range. So that's what we got for Tesla right here. Bitcoin 97,000. SoFi, look at that. SoFi above 16. SoFi above 16. There you go. SoFi and Palantir up 1.79%. Palantir holding on as well. Look at that. SoFi 16, Palantir 73.80. Robinhood 40.39, going green again. Grabbed, recovering a little bit. It was down 2%. Oracle's down 9%. Google is, wow, 5% on the day, folks. Holy moly. Again, this is a large cap tech company. It's not easy to get Google up 5% or Microsoft or Amazon. So when they move, they really move. Google right there, $186. Not bad at all. Rocket Lab 24.28 up 4.4%. Reddit's up 1.75%. Nvidia's going green. S&P 500 slightly red on the day. MicroStrategy back up to be 2%. And then where's Amazon? Amazon 226. Amazon's green as well. Amazon is green as well. Archer's up as well. Archer is indeed up. Archer 810, 813, up 4%. For the people that have audio cutting out, you got to restart YouTube. It's a YouTube thing because for the majority of you, audio is fine. So I would restart YouTube. And I tested it on a couple of my things. I don't see any audio issues. So you got to restart it. If all of you were saying it, then it would be me, but it's not all of you. It's a few of you. So you got to restart it. All right, Tesla right here, 397. Palantir 74.30. Wow, Palantir. Talk about buying the dip, bro. You would think if there's any weakness that continues onto the day, and, you know, it's only 6 minutes into the open, so we'll see. But market's ready. Market's ready to give it. Now, remember, on Friday, we're going to know if the QQQ accepts Palantir. And if they do, that is another big catalyst that the market might get excited for. And as a result, give Palantir some momentum on. Robinhood, $40.38. Robinhood doing a pretty good job normalizing the 40s, even yesterday. You know, I think 39.50 was the low that we had, but overall doing a pretty good job maintaining this $40 range. And now we just got to keep staying in the 40s. We got to keep staying in the 40s, normalize that price range, and then try to make our way into the 50s on the next catalyst. But right here, Robinhood, $40.35, up 2% on the day. If earnings do well, then, you know, maybe we can break above that and creep going from there. What about MSTR and the QQQ? Well, a lot of people are thinking it'll happen. I don't know. I think the NASDAQ doesn't have any issue. The NASDAQ right here at 523, all-time high. I don't think they have an issue with MicroStrategy being in the Qs. But at the end of the day, it would basically mean everyone in the Qs is like pseudo-long Bitcoin via MSTR because you have that Bitcoin exposure. And I don't know if the committee necessarily wants that to be the case. Now, granted, I don't think they would hate that to be the case. I think the S&P 500 committee might not want that to happen. But I don't know if the NASDAQ cares that much, given, you know, the mainstream adoption of Bitcoin. So I think MicroStrategy has a shot to get in. I think Palantir is definitely getting in. But MicroStrategy, if they get in, then that means the committee is okay with being long Bitcoin. Palantir right here, 74.15. Again, if the audio is not working, please restart. It should work. It's working for the majority of people. If it's not working, it might just be you. And in general, streaming from OBS today might be causing some issues. But tomorrow we should be back to StreamYard. NVIDIA right here, 139. S&P 604. Enphase 74. Qs are up. Amazon's up. The move on Google is just incredible, dude. 5% on the day. I think that's close to a little over 100 billion in market cap on Google right here. 186 now. Google was at 168 last week or 2 weeks ago. as the DOJ Chrome lawsuit stuff started getting really bad. I mean, where was it at the lows? 165, November 21st, right before Thanksgiving. 165 was lows. Now you're at 186. That type of move on a large cap is not easy, but it is happening right here on Google. Rob, thank you for the $10 super chat. I can't show it on the screen because of OBS, but he says, I might have missed it, but how do you think the market will react to CPI tomorrow? So I'm still looking for the CPI projections. Let me see if I can find them right now. But I do think that CPI is going to be in line with expectations, and I don't think it's going to be that horrible. Meta just raised their price target from 650 to 670. Not Meta raised their price target, but Piper Sandler raised the price target on Meta. And so Meta's up right now. Oh, here it is. Here it is. Okay, so the market's thinking, this is what the market's thinking. The market's thinking we're going to get 2.7% CPI, and core will stay the same at 3.3. Previous month was 2.6. So market wants 2.7, or market's thinking 2.7. You know, the reason, so I think if we come in at 2.7, we're going to be fine. If we come in at below 2.7, we'll be fine. If we come in at 2.8 or 2.9, I think people will be a little worried. The fact is that we have now consecutively gone up from inflation since September. September was 2.4, October was 2.6, and now people are saying November is 2.7. That is an increase, which is not good. We don't want an increase, but it's in line with expectations, which is why I don't think the market's going to care. Now, if we get to 2.8, 2.9, and we start inching in on 3%, that's when I think Jay Powell's going to start wondering, all right, do I really need to cut rates? So I would hope that we come in at 2.7 or below tomorrow, and as long as that happens, I think we'll be good. If that doesn't happen, it's going to bring up some questions on, do we really need a rate cut? Now, I think we definitely need a rate cut because the Fed is looking at the labor market. They're seeing unemployment go up even slightly, and they're saying, hey, we definitely need to make sure we don't mess things up. CME Fed futures probabilities is 86% on a rate cut. It was 89% yesterday, so it's down about 3% today. But I do believe we should be able to get that rate cut. And that's going to be important. Doug has a really good comment right here. He says CPI going up historically with low prices in oil is not a good sign. I agree with that. Oil has been low for the past 2 months, and it's been historically low. Tesla right there just closing in on 400, trying to get there. I'm a little confused why the hell CPI is going up. I mean, with oil at these levels, I think used car prices, auto insurance, shelter, that's what's taking it back up. But that's not good. I mean, if oil is down, CPI should be at least somewhat controlled, and the fact that it's going up is kind of annoying. So that's something we're gonna have to figure out tomorrow. I'll be live tomorrow 8:20 for CPI. I will definitely make sure I am live actually at 8:20 tomorrow. Tomorrow's a big CPI day, and hopefully StreamYard is fixed by then, but we will be live tomorrow. Tomorrow's gonna be a big one, and we'll see CPI live. Tesla $399 again. There's no resistance to 400. We just need some buyers to come in, and we should see 400 on Tesla, and maybe today we hold it. Yesterday was kind of a crappy day. Maybe today we actually hold it. SoFi right here, 1595. Palantir, 7430. Palantir going green, showing it has strength. Not getting into the not kind of leaning into the weakness that it was at yesterday, which it was really easy for that to happen today, but it's choosing not to do that. Google right here, 185. Grab goes green today, 536. Robinhood 4028, Rocket Lab 2385, Reddit 171, Nvidia 141. Nvidia back into the 140s. Nvidia green as well, 1.74% on the day. The Qs are at an all-time high, or close to an all-time high. The all-time high was 527. Now they're at 524, but I think that was in the pre-markets. Tesla right here, 40 cents away from 400. And Hood at $40.27. MicroStrategy recovering a little bit as well, up 2.33% on the day. Someone said, Amit, when will you feel comfortable taking profits, or when would you consider taking profits? Again, for me, it's a long-term thesis. For a lot of people have been asking me, and if you want to take profits, you should take profits. Like if you feel 74 is very rich and you have, a $10, $20 average, whatever it is, and you want to trim some, then you should take profits if you feel comfortable taking profits. My thing has been, even if you want to take profits, maybe you don't get rid of the whole position. That's always been my thing. So for me, I don't want to take profits here. I want to hold on to it long, but if you want to take profits, I don't think you should feel sorry about taking profits, especially if insiders are taking profits. But I do think long-term this story plays out. Tesla hit 400. We hit 400. We hit it. There we go. Back to 400 on Tessie. We hit it yesterday. We rang the bell for 400 yesterday. So we got to see it hold 400 today. But there you go. There you go. Tesla back to 400, and I think we'll be back there for the day. I think we will. There's really no resistance unless the macro takes a turn like it did yesterday. I think we should hold 400 today. Amid, have you looked at the home builders? Yes. The only problem with the home builders right now, like Lennar, that's the one I've been looking at the most. That one's down 3% today. Is that the mortgage rates actually have to come down to stimulate people wanting to buy houses. And it's either two things. Either mortgage rates come down and the 10-year, has come down, but mortgage rates haven't come down enough, which is also kind of like annoying. And I think JPow's trying to get that to be fixed. Hopefully by next year, we get mortgage rates down to like 5.5%. I think that'll create more home demand. But the other thing is Trump has to get rid of regulations that are stopping home builders from building. And if he does that, Tesla back to 400, then I think the home builders will be able to create a ton of homes. That'll be great for supply. That'll lower costs, and that should balance out demand, which means theoretically more and more people should be buying homes in the United States. And that is a catalyst for the home builders. But as of now, we kind of don't have those two things happening yet. But when Trump gets in office, maybe we see that happens. Grab is at 546, and I'm a little annoyed because I really do not want this thing to run before I have my full position. So I hope it chills out at 550 and it just like waits until January. Now, again, look, Grab has 4 billion shares outstanding. I don't think they can go to $6 that easily, bro. Like for it to move 50 cents, that would be a lot of buying pressure. So I don't think Grab has proven itself yet from a net income, free cash flow, EBITDA margin perspective. I think they need a second quarter. One quarter is good, but you can't be a one-hit wonder, right? You got to get the next one. I think they got to get the second quarter for that to really happen. Now, if they move to $6 before January, then that means the hype is becoming real on Grab and a lot of people are getting it. That's the only reason, because it's not because of the numbers. Like, it's already up 70% from $3. The numbers, it's already made its move on a good earnings. I don't think it's going to make another big move outside of any good numbers, which means that would be hype. That would be hype. So if it gets up there, congrats. It would make me have to buy it a lot more expensive, but I think it would be more so because people are getting excited about it, which isn't the worst thing in the world. It means more people are looking at the name. Where is Tesla? Are we at 401? Oh, there you go, 402. Okay, I think we got to ring the bell for 402. We got to ring the bell for 402. It is so nice seeing 400 on Tesla. It is so nice. It's just nice. I know I don't have a ton of it, but it is nice seeing 400 on Tesla. It's just, I feel like it belongs in the 400s. It was just disrespected all year. 100s, 200s, barely got to the 300s. It needed Trump to get over the hump. And now it is in the 400s. There was a upgrade today. Let me read that real quick. We got another $400 upgrade. Oh, by the way, did you guys see Gary Black's upgrade? Gary Black was like, I'm raising my price target to 380. And look, I like Gary Black, smart guy. I think he's a good human being, all that stuff. But the problem with Gary Black, and I've said this many times for the Tesla community, Gary Black has insulted and made Tesla bulls feel like they were idiots because they don't work on Wall Street. This has happened time and time again. He has made people on Twitter that analyze Tesla that you could say are a little bit more optimistic on the company. I wouldn't say delusional. I would just say more optimistic. They're like actually analyzing the long-term potential. He makes them feel like idiots because they're like not doing the Wall Street metrics of it. And then when Tesla goes to 380, he upgrades them, Tesla goes to 400, he upgrades them to 380. And it's just so weird. And his analysis was like, oh, well, I'm upgrading them on the next gen vehicle. It's like they've been talking about the next gen vehicle for a year and a half. Like, what makes today so special? Oh, well, I get it. The price went up, and now you kind of sound stupid if you have like a $290 price target on Tesla. So I think a lot of analysts you have to take with a grain of salt because the price really moves as the sentiment moves their price targets. And Gary Black really is no different. But this is what Morgan Stanley said today. It's a top pick for them in 2025, $400. Policy changes present near-term headwinds for U.S. EV sales, but must not cede autonomous leadership to geopolitical rivals. We see U.S. supported by lower rates, but higher competition with tariff hikes. Prefer dealers to suppliers and reiterate Tesla as a top pick. With 2025 ushering in a new administration, we refresh our 2025 auto forecast, review key themes, and provide a scenario analysis to help investors frame the most relevant industry debates, including EV policies, tariffs, China export expansion, etc. Basically saying Tesla is going to be a major beneficiary of different verticals. $400 right here through deregulation that happens on the stock, which is fair. I think that's very fair. And that's what you're going to see in the context of Tesla. You guys are saying audio is still not good. Let me do one more switch on the audio. I'm going to plug it in and out to the mic. And maybe that should help. Okay, that's the bad mic. Okay, this is the good mic. So that's hopefully my version of refreshing it. But for everyone else, please try to refresh YouTube. Hopefully That helps as well. $400 right here in the context of Tesla. Amazon right here, 227. Palantir 7408. Tesla 401. Qs are at 524. Whereas hoodies at 40 and 18 cents. Google, wow, 187. Look at Google, up 6% on the day. Google does not care. Audio's good. Okay, perfect. Audio's good. Audio is good. Okay, for anyone who says audio is not good, you got to refresh then. I'm sorry, it's not me, it's you. This is what I told her a couple years ago. It's not me, it's you. It really is. Google right here, 187.68 currently right now. Google getting some love, up 6%. Tesla up 3%, 401. Amazon 227. Where is AMD? Palantir 73.92. AMD. Wow, AMD in the 120s. AMD in the 120s. What is that? AMD in the 120, 129. AMD not getting any love. That's weird because NVIDIA's up. NVIDIA's up. Look at that. NVIDIA 141. So AMD is going contra to NVIDIA right now. Grabs at 542. For those asking, do I still think this is a buy at 540? Yeah, I do. I mean, I kind of like 550 and below. That's been my range. And would I buy it above 550? Probably, because I do think it's going to 10. So, you know, I think that's a good risk reward. But 550 and below is kind of where I like grab. S&P is green, MicroStrategy is green, NVIDIA is green, AMD is red. Sentiment on AMD is getting really bad. But then again, this is why people are getting into AMD, right? Because the sentiment sucks. Just like on Google, if you got into it at 162, I think at the lows a month ago, it's because sentiment sucked and now sentiment doesn't suck. If sentiment switches to AMD, then you got to kind of live through this pain. Now AMD is really getting hit down about 1.0% right here. And then hopefully AMD makes its way back. Now AMD's chart is kind of ugly. It was up at 220 this year, 227 in March, and then just kind of went flat, went all the way down to 121, came all the way right back to 173 by October, now back at 129. So Uber's down. Toby says, I think this is the start of a sentiment shift for Google. I agree. And we definitely know it's the start of a sentiment shift for Tesla. Google right here at 187. I mean, if Gary Black is issuing a price target and his basic argument is, well, you know, with the next generation vehicles coming out, you know, when that's not really, I think, any basis for a justification, given we knew that news for the past 5 months now. Obviously, the price moved his price target based on seeing the sentiment around the stock, and he increased the price target. And I think he's not alone. Lots of people are doing it. A lot of people on Wall Street. Stifel gave them 400. Bank of America gave them 400. Morgan Stanley gave them 400 today. Gary Black has given them 380. Everyone's moving up in the context of Tesla, and that seems to be a little bit more based on sentiment. And I think the same thing will happen with Google. If Google pushes the 190s, you're going to have every analyst saying, yeah, Google 225. We think that's pretty reasonable. And then the Google story will start kind of playing out right here. Amazon 227, Palantir 73.82. So Palantir still holding on to the 73s, just below $74. We were at 74 just a second ago, 73.90 right now, up 2% currently on the day. SoFi 15.78, that's holding on. Robin at $40.03. Rocket Lab up 1.27%. Rocket Lab was down about 5% yesterday. Reddit up another 3%. Riot's up today. Marathon's up today. Broadcom's down. Kava's up a little bit. Meta's up at 6.20. It looks like TikTok's getting banned, folks. And if TikTok is getting banned, from what Trump doesn't want it to get banned, but if it does get banned, there's going to be 150 million people that are going to go to Instagram Reels or YouTube Shorts, and that's a tailwind for both of those companies, Meta and Google. Block right here in 95. Block right here in 95.74. That's up as well. Serve Robotics, they're up today, 6.8%. RGIT, this is another quantum computing name, that's up 14% on the day. It's been in the quantum space. This thing was 65 cents in September, $5.11 today. So kind of riding the quantum computing hype that a lot of people are seeing right now. AMD is getting some tax loss harvesting. Yeah, that could be another thing. People might just be taking profits on AMD and lowering their taxes. So that could be a thing. Mick GH46E, thank you for the $10 super chat. I can't show it on the screen because of OBS, but thank you for the super chat. Really appreciate it. And thank you for being here. Thank you for being part of the streams. Pinterest. Okay, Pinterest. This one we haven't looked at in a while. Oh, wow, Pinterest is down 4%. Dude, Pinterest has been a sad story. You would think this one got to $89 in 2021, came all the way down to 18, got all the way to 45 in July, now back at 31. Their user growth and monetization just isn't good enough for people to get excited. And a lot of advertising still goes to Facebook over Pinterest, even though Pinterest has the kind of demographic that some advertisers care about. Snapchat as well, 1243. TikTok being banned will be a tailwind for both of them, but primarily it's going to help Meta, I think, more than anyone else. TikTok ban will be overturned in the Supreme Court amid. Yeah, there's a chance. They've already filed for the appeal. So they're probably going to take it to the Supreme Court if the District Court of Appeals ends up not giving them exactly what they want. And then in that case, it becomes a national security versus free speech debate in the Supreme Court, I guess. TikTok's definitely going to go for the First Amendment stuff. The government's going to go for the fact that they're a Chinese psyop. And so we're going to have to see kind of how that ultimately plays out. Tesla right here, 402, holding 402. Tesla's holding 402. Let me see the resistance on 403 for Tessie. Tessie resistance on 403 is 12,000 shares. That is not a lot of resistance. That is not. Volume is 17 million. Tesla can do it. Tesla can get there. I think in the new year, we're looking at Tesla at 400. And I think Tesla can hold it. Now, granted, it's early in December. We still have a long time to go in December, and we're kind of barely above 400. But people want this stock. People want this stock. The buyers are there. Google right here up about 5% right now. Where is Palantir? Palantir is 74.40. Wow, Palantir 2.6%. No news on Palantir from my understanding. Not today or not yesterday. That video of Carp did get over 30 million views from Elon sharing it, which I think is very bullish. I mean, more people getting exposed to Palantir. One thing that did happen yesterday, I saw on what was I watching? I was watching something. It was some segment on CNBC where they were talking about like startups, and basically the girl who was presenting the segment, she said that she had just visited a ton of startups in Silicon Valley and they were like fundraising, and their pitch, 3 of them in their pitch said, "We are the Palantir of X." And it's so wild because it's like, you know how startups like a decade ago were like, "We are the Uber of X, we are the Airbnb of X." The fact that these startups are pitching themselves as the Palantir of X means that they're recognizing the value of Palantir, they're recognizing the momentum and the respect that Palantir has, and they're trying to get some of that brand recognition by comparing their company to Palantir in that way. And I think that's very interesting because it means that Palantir is being held as this benchmark of like excellence of a startup that probably was supposed to fail, that most people thought was going to fail, and now is a $150 billion company. And, you're starting to see a lot more respect in the valley for Palantir, the company in and of itself. 1030 sell-off incoming, maybe. It's at 955. We're seeing a little bit of weakness across the market. Maybe we'll get a little bit of a sell-off. I don't know if it'll be as bad as yesterday, even though yesterday wasn't that bad, bro. Like, we acted like it was bad, but yesterday was really healthy. Like, yesterday was not bad. SoFi kind of giving up a lot of its gains. But people stepped in and bought the dip yesterday as well. And then by the end of the day, it almost felt like there wasn't that much of a really downturn, you know? It wasn't that bad. Philip Work YT, is there a Technical Tuesday today? Yes, there is a Technical Tuesday today. We'll be live at, Jason will be on probably like 4:15, and we'll be live for like 3 hours analyzing every stock. There's a lot of TA we have to do on some of these names because they've had some pretty wild moves. So we'll be doing that. Chad says it's a high bar. Yeah, I would imagine it is definitely a high bar. You know, it was just interesting watching that segment though, because the segment was also about how A16Z and all these VC funds are looking for like American dynamism and startups that are like even Y Combinator. They came out yesterday and they said, hey, we know the government's not sexy, but that's why we want startups to build for the government, even though we know it's not sexy. And historically, YC has not funded government startups because like it's hard to sell into the government. Like it's very complicated versus building like the next Facebook and get 1 billion users, right? Like that's kind of the moonshots they want to go after. But the fact that YC, which is the biggest startup incubator, yesterday said for our winter application, we are prioritizing companies that try to go after the government, it just goes to show how much success they're seeing Palantir and Anduril have. And now you got a lot of these startups that want to replicate that success, but obviously it's very hard to be able to do that. Palmer Luckey, by the way, CEO of Anduril, he said he has an announcement today. He has not announced it yet, but this is what he said. He said Anduril is making a big announcement tomorrow that will really benefit from wide distribution. I want to get the word out as widely as possible, but especially tech companies big and small trying to figure out how to help defend America would appreciate a signal boost. So basically he's teasing that he's coming out with an announcement today. Here's a question for the chat. If you could invest in Anduril at a $20 billion valuation right now, $20 billion, you could buy private shares of Anduril on the secondary markets. Would you invest? Just put a 1 in the chat if you would invest, put a 2 if you wouldn't invest. Put a 1 if you would invest, a 2 if you wouldn't invest. Would you invest at Anduril at 20 billion? Their last fundraising was 15 billion. So imagine you have to pay like 5 billion extra because if you're buying in the secondary markets, you have to pay, you have to pay a premium because you're not a VC. Would you invest? Yes or no? I'm very curious how many people would actually put it into Anduril. Because there is, dude, if you look on Twitter, there's a lot of people that are just waiting for Anduril to go public. Tesla right below 400 right here. And they really want shares of Anduril. So also, Palmer Luckey did say the IPO is coming. He responded to someone yesterday and say the IPO is definitely coming. I think it'll take maybe a couple years, but maybe they do it next year if the market's really good and IPOs are back. Maybe they do it next year. All right, so we pretty much have all ones. All ones. Everyone wants to invest in Anduril. Interesting. We have a couple twos right here. I think the twos are probably saying that they don't have a commercial business. That would be your bear case, right? And that essentially if you're investing in a smaller Lockheed Martin, it's not as exciting. Whereas if you're investing in something that is a commercial business, it gets more exciting. But we see a decent amount of people putting in some ones right here. Amit, would you invest in PayPal? You think they're a good company? Yes, I would invest in PayPal. I would have no problem investing in PayPal, right? PayPal's undervalued. Its fair value is 120. I would sleep like a baby at night investing in PayPal. I might buy PayPal next year. It's a safer place to be in. Covered call premiums are not horrible. I have no issue with getting into PayPal. Sachin says, I've done the data room for the Anduril and participated taking a position in it for the fund. It is the only pure play integrated hardware software defense play. Yeah, and I think that's the thing that's exciting about Anduril. Like the Lockheed Martins of the world, they still have kind of legacy manufacturing for products that aren't as modern. And I have a friend who I was going to say lives in Anduril. He basically lives there because he works so much, but he works in Anduril. And, he's excited for the company. He's excited for the future. Obviously, Anduril is winning a ton of contracts. You can even see that publicly, how many contracts that they're posting that they're winning. Palantir right here, 74.50, trying to get back to 75. The only bear case I hear for Anduril is that they don't have a commercial business yet. And so the question is, how big is the TAM for the government? It's a big TAM, but it's not like 80% gross margins type of TAM because at the end of the day, they're still building hardware. Even if their software is making their margins better than Lockheed Martin and Raytheon, it's not like, Palantir type of margins. So the question becomes then, if they're not a pure software play and they have to deal with the manufacturing and hardware components of the business, can they bring that to the commercial sector? Because if they can, I think there's a really interesting argument there. But I think that's what most investors are thinking of. Nonetheless, I think people just want to invest in them to support America, which the fact that sentiment even exists in 2024 is amazing. It's a total sentiment shift from 2021. So we have a different dynamic in terms of how people are thinking of wanting to allocate their capital. Kris says Lockheed Martin has a lot of overhead. Yeah, and that's the difference with Anduril in terms of them just not having as many of those variable costs that Lockheed Martin has. What about HIMS? Let's check out HIMS. How's HIMS has been doing? 31.14, down 5%. I don't know why it's down 5%, but then again, HIMS is very volatile, but HIMS is holding the 30s. I think anyone in HIMS should be happy. I mean, this thing was $17 3 weeks ago when Amazon said they were going to come after the telehealth space, and now it's back to 31. So down 5% on the day, but HIMS still holding into that range. Palantir 74.75. Let me check resistance on Palantir. Tesla back to 402. Let me check resistance on Palantir to 75. 75 right now is resistance. 53,000 shares. 53,000 shares. If Elon goes after defense via Doge, it will be good for Anduril. I agree. I think it'll be good for Palantir and Anduril. Elon hasn't explicitly said he wants to go after the defense budget. He's talking about like all the other budgets that are, not being efficient. Defense is a bit more political. You've got pretty much every politician saying they never want to spend less because it's about American safety, right? It's one of those things that is bipartisan. But if Elon can make the defense budget a little bit more efficient, maybe increase the software spend, decrease the spend in other areas that aren't required, I think Anduril and Palantir are going to get a little bit of love. I think they're going to get a little bit of love. Chad says cost plus is the biggest milking of the American taxpayer. I would absolutely agree. And that's what Shyam Sankar talked about when he was on the podcast with me. He said we have to do something to fix that monopsony that exists in the DoD. Kris, I'm giving you a phone call right now. Let's get you onto the show. And let's get your thoughts as well. Kris, what's up?
Hey, nothing much, man. What are you up to?
I'm doing a show, but I want to get your thoughts on what's going on with your. So first of all, I've been seeing you tweet a lot about Palantir. and this
Okay.
government efficiency stuff. So give me your thoughts on that, and then give me your thoughts on why you would invest in Anduril.
All right. So I'll start the Palantir thing first. So one of the things that I've always kept a like close eye on are all the products that Palantir has, because you know me, I was one of the first people to say Palantir is going to benefit significantly from Ukraine. Like I know when I came on Palantir Weekly and I said that, a lot of people didn't believe me, but that's exactly what ended up happening. I think this is the very same thing that's probably going to happen with a lot of software companies looking to get into the government business for efficiency's sake. But the thing is, like, in order to get through all the red tape and everything else, they need a great platform to build on. And Palantir already has that. So if you look up the thing that I posted on Twitter, which is called FedRAMP, it's like one of the, like, let's say right now you're the commerce department, you're working on some bullshit legacy system from like ages ago. You know, if you build your software on Palantir's FedRAMP stack, you literally, it's like an easier process than had you try to, you know, work around all the shit yourself and try to get all the stuff there. So it's like, if you want to, you just partner with Palantir, you build your stuff on that platform, and now you got yourself a contract with the government. So the government says, hey, I need this. You develop it for them, and you know, you get paid, and you work with Palantir, and they provide the tools, and it's kind of like a win-win situation for a lot of companies. So I mean,
So you think you think Doge is going to be a catalyst for Palantir if they really go after like
oh
efficiencies?
hell yeah, oh
Or
hell yeah, there's still legacy systems that are running on COBOL. Like, I'm talking about like dead ass languages that like people haven't used in like ages, you know. So
yeah.
definitely check that out, you know. So that's one thing. Andrew, I think one of the main things that maybe Elon and Vivek are going to start to kind of like push for is fixed pricing contracts as opposed to cost plus.
Well,
Do you know
what's
the difference?
what's the difference for those that don't know
Okay.
between those?
So right now, imagine, you know, you have like the government needs an aircraft carrier, right? I'm going to give you a really bad example, but it highlights what we need. So a cost plus contract is, bidders will say, hey, I can build it for you for this, but then, you know, if there's overruns, the federal government has to eat the cost, right? That's how sometimes these like planes, like the F-35, went from a certain price to like huge, massive cost overruns. So a lot of times what happens is the defense contractors, they end up, you know, like bidding a certain price, and then they're saying, well, it's a cost plus contract. And so it ends up basically milking the taxpayer, because now all the inefficiencies from that contractor, they can just keep saying, oh, well, you know, we need more money, and it just becomes a bigger and bigger problem. If you have a fixed contract, basically the company would have to eat the loss. So it almost forces the companies to be very efficient with how they do things. So like Angelo right now, you know, if you do like a bid for $1 billion for a certain product, you know, your profit margin is determined by how efficient you are at producing those goods and services to the specifications that the government requires. You know, so you're not incentivized to kind of milk the taxpayer essentially. So
What do you think about their lack of commercial business? Would that be a red flag to you, or it'll develop over time?
I think there's plenty of room for in the defense space. I mean, we have an $800 billion defense budget. And remember, there's also international markets as well. So it may not be like we're not selling to like some small third world countries, but among the Five Eyes countries, Europe, you know, these are places where Angel has a presence, and likely they're going to be able to sell products to also. So I think what limited amount of products they have from the commercial space is not necessarily that big of a deal, because the TAM internationally in terms of defense is just so big. So, you know, you've got countries like Japan, South Korea, Taiwan, Australia. I think Angel right now has a really big office in Australia. So definitely, you know, they're not just like situated in one locality with one little thing. They're all over the place. And then also they work with the other defense primes also. So it's like it's a combination of things. But yeah, Anduril definitely has a huge TAM ahead of it. And as time goes on, you know, as their products become more, the one thing that Anduril has that I think Lockheed Martin and some of these other guys may not have is this Silicon Valley drive to innovate and fail fast.
Right.
But at the same time, do really well in terms of cutting out costs that are unnecessary, but at the same time building great products that are driven by software and actual need. a lot of the legacy defense primes, they just have these bloated budgets. They have like bloated ways of doing things, and that essentially all that cost gets built in to these contracts. And then eventually it becomes something where the taxpayer is basically losing out because the function that you need it to have doesn't necessarily go where it needs to go. So I'll give you an example of something that's like I wouldn't say like a boondoggle because it's a really cool plane, but like the F-35 program. The F-35 program is like, if you look at how many billions of dollars this thing is in terms of like cost to overruns, it's actually fucking crazy, And the thing is, and I truly believe exactly what Elon put on Twitter, and he said, "Look, the F-35 is a great plane, but it's trying to do too many things as opposed to having a good platform." So if you look at something like the A-10 Warthog, its purpose built to be a close air support like plane. It's survivable. It does everything that it needs to, and that plane costs the taxpayers a lot less to maintain and procure. Well, they're not procuring anymore, but to basically keep around than an F-35. So an F-35, you send it in to do an airstrike, the total operating cost is much, much more than something like an A-10, So all of these things have to be kind of worked out, and it's a really interesting dynamic. But the TAM for Anduril is still really, really significant.
All right, so I have some questions on some other stocks while you're here. Tesla at 407. Give me your thoughts on that. What do you think's happening with Tesla right now?
Bro, I think Tesla is getting a huge bump because of the FSD thing. And now that we've both been in FSD, yeah, there's probably some room for improvement. But, at this point, I can safely say that eventually FSD will become a standard.
I agree.
It may not just be a Tesla thing. It might be other forms of FSD also. But, the overarching theme, I think, for the next 5 to 10 years is autonomous driving is going to become a reality. That doesn't mean that the drivers are going to be replaced completely and all new cars are not going to have a steering wheel, because that's just stupid. But I think the concept of autonomous ride hailing and sharing of cars like that, I think that is a real possibility.
So when you experienced FSD, what was your raw thoughts? Like, how did what did it feel after you were done with the drive?
Okay, so
because I felt like humans wouldn't drive again in 10 years. Like, that's how impressed I was.
I was scared as shit the first 5 seconds, but when it started to slow down at this really nice gradual pace, and then it properly waited at a stop sign and then turned, I was like, this thing is driving better than most drives that I've been on. And that's the part, it took maybe 10 minutes to feel like, wait a second, this is actually safer than a human driver, And I don't know, maybe it was just my interpretation of it, but dude, it was driving on Atlanta highways to get to where I needed to go. And if anyone's from the freaking South, you guys know what Atlanta driving is like. Atlanta driving is like bumper cars, basically, because fucking people are just reckless. But the thing was amazing. It did everything that it was supposed to do.
What do you think about all these price targets? We got Morgan Stanley to 400. We got Bank of America to 400. Do you think they're just chasing the stock, or do you think legit Tesla should be above 400 right now?
I think they're chasing potential rather than numbers right now, right? So if you look at the numbers, Tesla's not exactly doing the greatest on paper in terms of revenue growth and all this other stuff. But, what people are seeing is that they've got so many verticals that they're going into. You remember, Tesla's not just cars. It's a software company. It's a hardware company. It's solar. It's got, energy products and now freaking robots. So it's like, their optimism is built on the future expectations of all these other verticals making it into the ecosystem, And then I don't even know if Tesla is likely to even license some of this stuff out, in which case that's another avenue for high margin revenue. So, and then of course you've got the connection to the Donald Trump administration with Elon. So the overarching theme to me right now with regards to Tesla's optimism is that the next 4 years especially will have a favorable leaning politically towards Tesla, where literally the last 4 years have been sort of like a headwind for Tesla because, like Elon not getting invited to the EV summit, a lot of policies coming out. Like, look at Gavin Newsom. That I don't even want to fucking call him an asshole because there's got to be a worse word than asshole for that guy. But literally, like, you're going to exclude the largest EV manufacturer that produces cars in California from incentives. Like, that's God. Like, you can't even. That's like dude. That is political. Like, what is that? Political assault, like 101. Like, you can't do that. That's not how America works. That's not how fucking free trade works.
No, that's fair. Okay, so quantum computing. What are your thoughts on it? And is Google a buy?
It's very, very, very early in its infancy. Like, there's not going to be a lot of products that come out just yet. But the point is, it's showcasing that there's still a lot of innovation happening in the space. So you're not. So the Google announcement was great for Google, but it was also great for quantum computing in general. Whenever these new technologies come out, it's like an all like tide dry, like lift all boats kind of situation.
So, but
the one thing. Let me just clarify. Some people are saying, like, now because of like quantum computing and how much like power Google is going to be able to do with its custom silicon Willow, like somehow Bitcoin is going to be threatened. That's like the stupidest argument. Like, no, like that's not what's going to happen. Like, you're not going to be able to break Bitcoin with
you're not going to be able to break encrypted blockchains with this quantum computer, essentially.
Well, they might be able to brute force encryptions. I'm not so sure they'll be able to brute force Bitcoin like mining. Like, some people said, all of a sudden now Google's going to be able to mine like 1 million coins a minute or some shit like that. Like, no, that's definitely not what's going to happen. There's a lot of safeguards and limitations that prevent that from happening. So.
Okay, last question on you. I think I saw your comment that you are loaded up on Grab. Can you give us a little bit of your thoughts on why you're bullish on this one?
I mean, we spoke about it privately, when it was in the fours, but basically it's got a lot of things working as a tailwind for it. And the thing is, it's been in this like channel of what is it called? Like underappreciation. Its numbers are trending in the right direction, in terms of revenue growth, the verticals that they're scaling up at. And then at the same time, they're becoming more profitable. Margins are expanding. So typically what happens is, you come up with a new industry, you got to build out all the infrastructure, you got to get all the people on it, you got to get users on it, and then you go public, right? Over time, what you end up seeing is competitors start to kind of like wind down operations a little bit. If you look at like some of the countries in Southeast Asia, like Gojek, they withdrew from those markets because these guys have become such a dominant player in the space. Once you get to that level of dominance, what you can end up doing is basically removing a lot of the incentives that basically made you the top player in the area, right? And as you slowly remove those incentives, your profitability goes up. So you remember maybe like 4 years ago, like you would get these offers from Uber Eats, like 50% off and blah, blah, blah. Remember? And you don't see those nearly as much anymore, do you?
Nope, not at all.
Right, because now the people got so used to ordering food online and stuff, and there's only like 2 or 3 major players that really do it now. You've got DoorDash and you've got Uber Eats. So the thing is, like, over time, as people get used to an industry, you can become more and more profitable. So that's what's happening for Grab. And then at the same time, Southeast Asia is a growing market. It's doing well economically. You're seeing more and more people enter the middle class. And then also digital penetration in terms of like payments and also utilization of software and applications like ride hailing and like delivery are becoming more and more commonplace. So think of what happened with Uber, but now think of that happening in Southeast Asia. And what's interesting, and I think which is one of the biggest bull cases for me, is that Uber's CEO, Dara Khosrowshahi, is on Grab's board.
Yeah.
So all the things that he learned, which were, this is what you do to get to profitability, this is what you need to do, all of those things can be taken and combined into the Grab ecosystem and end up utilizing that to become profitable on top of it. So like here's an example of something that's new for them, but now is going to work out to be a nice high margin business. Remember when me and what's his name, Sean, had the podcast about Uber like a long time ago?
Yeah.
We said that ad revenue was going to be a bigger thing for Uber, right?
Yep.
Like now you'll be able to kind of like, you know, sell ad space and sell prioritization in the apps. Well, now Grab is doing the same thing, where now they're actually having advertising revenue, and that's all high margin business. So you're going to see this gradual rise in on operating efficiency, and all that additional cash flow, they're utilizing it to buy back shares right now. So they're doing a $500 million share buyback.
So what do you say to the 4 billion shares outstanding? Because that is a lot, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, but then again, the stock price is really low. So right now, what they're doing is buying back a ton of shares. You know, the longer this thing stays low at a low point, the more value there is for them to buy back the shares. Right. So yes, there's a 4 billion shares outstanding, but that's just how it is. The one thing to keep in mind, though, there is some dilution that may be coming in the future with regards to its warrants that they issued when they de-SPAC'd. So those warrants are still out there, but the execution on those, like the exercise, is like $11 and something. So it's way below what the current stock price is.
So you would say they have a moat?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think just the fact that Uber had to quit and sell their business to them also means that they have a moat.
They understand their clients, they understand their customers better than some of these multinationals who kind of go into markets thinking that, you know, everyone's like this cookie cutter thing. And like I said, I really do believe in the CEO. Sometimes you have to look at this not just from, okay, like the company, what they're doing, but also from the leadership. And the leadership seems to be like pretty good at communicating what they're trying to do. And it looks like they're executing really well. I mean, bro, you literally took out Uber, you know, with all their cash coming in. Yeah. Like, just think about that.
You know, that's the story crazy. On that, Anthony Tan was saying Uber tried to do a promotion in Singapore where they would deliver free ice cream to your house. And Anthony was like, it's fucking hot in Singapore. The ice cream melted. It just didn't work. Like, they were so culturally incompetent about the needs of that place, and then Grab did a competitive promotion with fruit, like really popular fruit, and they sold the most fruit ever that month. And like those types of things, it's hard for an American company to be able to compete with.
Yeah, I mean, when you have localized markets and you have localized tastes and wants and needs, like you have to cater to them. That's how you grow your business. You can't come in with the same ideas you had in one market. Like, some things are transferable. Like, as an example, how to do better advertising and marketing, that's definitely translatable to this market. But at the same time, you also need the local people to identify, like, okay, how are you going to do this marketing?
Yeah.
You know, like, as an example, look at this new Jaguar thing, right? Jaguar is freaking retarded. Like, literally, I don't know who the hell thinks that what they're doing in Jaguar is going to work. But that's just how things are. So I don't know, maybe they should have done some product testing first. You know, get some people in a room together and see, like, hey, what do you guys think of this thing? You know, I don't even know what's going on. But so yeah, it's just.
All right, last question for you, Kris. China, what's going on in China right now?
So China is in a disinflationary death spiral. Basically, their growth is slowing down significantly. So the CCP is basically now trying to stimulate their way out of it, but the stimulus is not hitting nearly as much of what is that thing called, as momentum as they need to basically build up confidence. So it's having these moments where things go up for a little bit and they come back down. So they really don't want to do like a bazooka kind of like stimulus measures where they go like, okay, here's $10 trillion injected into the economy in one shot. Because then what happens is it's a very similar thing that happened the last couple of times, which is basically the markets ride up and you have this huge wave increase in prices on a lot of things, but then everything ramps up and dies down. You know, I think China's bigger issues, though, are honestly, it's a little bit politically heavy-handed. And so a lot of people from outside, like FDI, foreign direct investment, has basically dried up. You know, so not, and also at the same time, the Trump administration is really turning the screws on these guys and saying, hey, listen, you're in a weak state, so I'm going to take every advantage I can to get what I need. And that essentially means that China has to kind of buckle buckle under the pressure of that. So China's not nearly the dragon that it claims to be. It's a bit more like a paper tiger at this point.
So the stimulus was good yesterday, but obviously there's some issues like with imports and exports that we saw this morning in the data. You still think China can do well, but they have to really stimulate, essentially.
Yeah. I mean, I think eventually, like the CCP is not stupid. They get it. They really do get it, and they'll eventually, stimulate what they need to get. They're very pragmatic. Okay, the country is not stupid. They are a pragmatic people. So I would say if you're betting against China at the lowest valuations ever right now, that's a pretty dumb move. If you don't believe in China, that's fine, but I definitely wouldn't short China right now.
All right, final question for you, Kris. Thank you for taking the time. What is your number one buy right now in the market?
It's Google, man. You can't even make Google is on another level of, it's like a monstrous octopus with so many hands. And all it's doing is just collecting money from everywhere. The entire planet is paying Google right now. YouTube. I mean, we're talking right now while you're on YouTube, right? Google, every time any of your followers right now, your memberships, whatever, Google's taking how much of it? 40% of it?
Pretty much, basically.
40%. So right now, someone says, here's $20. Google said, no, hold on. My cut comes first. And they're literally taking, I think, about $6 from that. Now, what did Google really have to do? Not much at all. They just had to sit there and basically, whore out Amit for a little bit, and they got paid.
Well, yeah, I mean, but YouTube is such a good platform, and that's why they get their cut, right? That's the.
Oh yeah. They're really good, man. They're really good. So, but yeah, they're all over the place. They've got the autonomous taxi thing. They're trying to do that. They've got this quantum thing, which is an other bets thing. Their cloud division is still growing at a 15 to 20% growth rate. And over time, it's going to get similar margins to AWS, and all that stuff will add back into the main business. And then when you look at it in terms of valuation comparisons between something like Apple and Microsoft, which are trading at, I think, 40 PEs, these guys are trading at like 22, 23 PE with a forward PE of 17. And at the same time, they're doing about 60 to 70 billion dollars in share buybacks. And they have a dividend now. Like, and their growth is reaccelerated. So this thing easily 250s by the end of next year, if the market holds up. Don't get me wrong. If like, let's say right now, the entire market craps, yeah, Google is going to take a bit of a hit because, they're such a large stalwart in the indexes that they're not going to be immune to that. But essentially from a business standpoint, I don't see any competitors coming for Google search either. I know that a lot of people are saying AI is going to disrupt Google. Okay, it's been ChatGPT and all these LLMs, they've been around for the last 2 years. How much of Google's search market share has gone down since then?
Yeah, that's a good point.
So I mean, really, if anyone really wants to see the bull case on Google, I do have something that I'm trying to write up on Patreon, but instead I would just say go to Joseph Carlson's last video that he did on Google. I think he really hit it right, like he nailed it right on the head with regards to why Google is a great place to be, and also right now I think what you call Piper Sandler rated them to be like the best performer among the Mag 7 in 2025. So that optimism is going to come in. I think the other thing that we're likely to see is when the 13Fs come out next quarter, we're probably going to see a lot of people buying back into this thing, so.
Okay, actual last question right here from Gene in the chat. Why do you think silver's going green after a couple of weeks?
I don't know. I didn't really research it, man. Maybe some people are hedging against currency issues.
That's what I thought.
I'm not a silver bug. I'm not a metals bug. So I don't know.
Do you think if Japan raises rates in December, that'll be an issue again, or you think it'll be subdued?
I don't know, man. I think it's going to be subdued, but I'm more focused right now on just like the U.S. markets and figuring out like for 2025, what are we looking at in terms of disinflation? One of the things that I'm seeing is housing prices are starting to moderate and come down. A lot of that data should be coming in 2025. I am worried about a recession in 26 now, only because a lot of the policies that Vivek and Elon are pushing for, they're very deflationary. And the thing is, that's not typically good for markets. The one thing though is it may be short-term pain, but long-term it benefits us.
Right.
Because if we can control our national debt, reduce down our deficit, that means our credit rating is not going to get impacted, and people are more going to be willing to buy treasuries, in which case it lowers our future debt. It'll lower our future debt. So I think one of the major mistakes that was made, and especially by the Biden administration, in the wake of COVID, right after COVID, was they didn't go long out in our bonds. Like at the time, you could have got like 2%, 3% on 30-year bonds, and they didn't do that. So basically, you have all this paper that's short-term paper, like 1 year out. No, just issue more 30-year paper, so that this way your future, like let's say, the price increases, like inflation goes up, the government is not going to end up getting into the situation that it is right now, which is it's paying a crap ton more in interest payments,
Right.
Yeah.
All right, Kris. Thank you very much. I'll put Chris's Twitter in the chat, and we will speak to you later.
Take care, man.
Take care. Have a good one. Thank you. Bye. All right, folks. We're getting the 10:30 slam as we usually get. Tends to happen. 10:29 right now, and we are getting a little bit of that slam. So Tesla's doing great though. SoFi just barely staying green. Google's at 186, still holding on. Apple going green again. Apple's been green like every day in a row for the past 9 days. Tesla's still holding on to 404, hit 407. Not bad at all. And a $400 close would be very, very exciting if we can actually hold on to it. Okay, let's ask a question. What was the last price you bought Tesla at? Put it in the chat. What is the last price that you acquired shares of ticker symbol TSLA at? Mine was 183. And I loaded up on one share that was gifted to me. So that was and I'm up, baby. I'm doing pretty good on my Tesla. But what is the last price that you bought Tesla shares at? Why is Apple going up? Your guess is as good as mine. I think it's December, passive index funds. They're just flowing into Apple at this point. All right, I see 170, 198, 300 by Ben, 200 by Pedro, or 220 by Pedro. A lot of 200s. 197. Romario, 141. Not bad. June, 140. Kathy, 347. Deacon 221, 138. Jody got 138. That's incredible. It's the bottom, baby. Dougie 370, 145. Angel says he's buying daily. 179. Chaos. Anthony 383. Atlantis 300. Jacob Wheeler 148. All right, so a decent amount of you. I would say the average out of all these numbers is probably like 275. I would say that's the average from everyone. A bunch of you guys have 300s. Some of you guys have the low 100s. And most of you guys have in the mid 200s. Victor Lee, thank you for the $10 super chat. Appreciate that, Victor Lee. Thank you for being here. And thank you for the $10 super chat. Chris CRM says 180, 200, 220. Geist says 150. Why don't you guys tell me to buy Tesla? All of you guys fucking loading up at 150. No one wanted to say, hey, Amid, why don't you buy some Tesla? No one wanted to say that this whole year. We had a whole fucking year. No one wanted to tell your boy to buy some Tesla. No one. It's not nice, guys. It's not nice. Palantir right here, 74.55. Palantir still holding on to this $74 range. That's some quick math, Amid. That's literally me just like guessing. It's like horrible math, but it's me guessing. Granted, again, I'm joking here. I didn't have money to buy Tesla, bro. Like I did this whole year, I did not really have money to buy Tesla. Everything, Hood and Palantir, every last dollar, bro. Like literally everything. And then I made a $35,000 worth of private investments. That also messed up a lot of my buying this year. But $25,000 into Figure, and then $10,000 into Apptronic, which is another humanoid robotic startup. So having to find 35 grand in like February was not the easiest thing to do. That also, dude, I would have like loaded up a lot more on some positions if I didn't have to do that. But yeah, that money also went away. Ahmed, how do you buy Anduril on the secondary market? Okay, so I showed you guys this website a while ago, but I don't know if everyone remembers it. But HIIVE is the one you're looking at. Hive. You guys can see this on my screen, right? Hive. This is the marketplace for buying private stocks. You have to sign up. You have to be accredited, submit your tax documents, all that stuff. But once you're in, look at this. Anthropic's going for $64. XAI, by the way, look at XAI. Look at this. This is in real time. I have a friend who has XAI. He bought in at like $20. He sold some shares yesterday at $200. XAI, look at this right now. It's going for $228. That is a 1,250% return on a company that has just raised $6 billion and is valued at $50 billion. I think 228 is not $50 billion in terms of market cap. I think that valuation is, if I'm not wrong, I think it's closer to like 300 billion, if I'm not wrong. But I mean, like, you could literally buy, if you want to buy Elon's startup, you're having to pay a hell of a premium right here. People who bought it did not buy at 228, but it is going for premiums on this marketplace. So if you want to pay a little bit more just to get access to everything, this is the website you go to. And that's how you can get stuff out. Either that or you have to know somebody. It's either one or the other. And if you know somebody, there's a chance you can get in like through a special purpose vehicle, an SPV, or you do it through hive.com. So that would be the website I would go through if you're accredited and you just want to get as much exposure as possible. You have to pay a little bit more, but if SpaceX is going to be worth 5 trillion and you have to buy 350 billion, it sucks that you couldn't get in earlier, but nonetheless, if it's going to go up, then maybe it's not the worst to get some exposure. But that would be one way to get access to it. Now, again, startups are risky, so they're illiquid. But what Hive's trying to do is like give them liquidity. So, for example, let's say you bought that share of XAI for $228. Theoretically, you can't sell it for a while unless someone has a better offer, right? So if you buy Anduril or something, you're probably not going to be liquid for a while. But if someone's willing to give you more, then there should be a marketplace to kind of sell those shares. But more and more of the secondary markets are popping up. I actually think that's a vertical Robinhood can get into, bro. I think if there's a world in which Robinhood kind of creates a marketplace for like secondaries, retail would love to get access to it. Again, the problem is you got to be accredited and all that stuff. So there's a lot of rules and regulations, but that is something that is possible. Can people from other countries use Access Hive? Yeah, I think so. I think it's global. I'm pretty sure anyone can use it. I don't think it's just US restricted. I'm pretty sure across the world, if you're accredited. Now, maybe there's different accreditation laws outside of the United States, so that might make it a little bit weird, but I do think most people should have access to it. So yeah, that's what I would use. But it seems like most of you guys bought Tesla in the 200s, which is great. So Tesla right here at 405. That means most people are up probably double on their Tesla from those $200 buys, which is not bad. $1.3 trillion market cap, all-time high in terms of valuation for Tesla. And 414 is going to be that magic number because that's what is the actual all-time high in terms of the price, even though the valuation's already achieved that. But that'll be fun when we can get past 414. SoFi allows access to ARK venture fund for SpaceX. Yeah, SoFi has that venture fund. I'm not really a fan of that. I think they just make a conglomerate of a bunch of names and put them together into a fund, and there's not really that much clarity around it. So I'm not the biggest fan of that. But that is one way if you just really want exposure. That is another way to get exposure through that SoFi venture fund. What else do we have? Someone says, sorry, I didn't realize you were able to go live. Sorry, I gave up on you, Amit. Yes, we did not give up, even if StreamYard wasn't working. We are here today. Let me show you guys. Let me show you guys right here on Twitter. Like when I searched StreamYard, I was like, why is this happening right here? Like, if you see this right here, yeah, look at this. Whoever uses StreamYard for their streams, be prepared. They have a serious glitch today. Audio is not going well. 5 minutes into a 24-hour live stream, StreamYard says our team has identified audio issues. I feel bad for this guy. This guy was streaming for 25 hours, bro. And then his audio cuts out. That sucks, bro. Look at this. Look at a Reach Trading said, hi, guys, no stream today. A StreamYard is having issues. That couldn't be me. That couldn't be me. I almost had the same tweet like a Reach Trading. But then I realized the show goes on, baby. The show goes on. And that's why we're here. And we are keeping the show going on. MicroStrategy at 368, Amazon at 228, Robin at 39.75, Bitcoin 97,000, Tesla 405, and Palantir still holding on. Look at that. Wants to get to 75, bro. Wants to get to 70 freaking 5. 74.90 currently right now. 74.90 up 3.35%. Okay, now I want to play some clips. I don't know how OBS works, ironically, with the audio. So, I mean, let's see if this actually works out. Let's see. All right, you guys. So this is a clip on Oracle's earnings. Let's see if it works. I'm gonna switch the thing. Desktop audio, is that working? Media source, properties. Actually, I think I switched to no, I don't know. All right, let's see. Let me know if you guys can hear this. Let's see. Let me know if you guys can hear this. Here we go.
Sharply on the back of what was an earnings miss. Somewhat of a disappointing forecast.
Oh, what? Why is the screen going black? Oh, that's so weird. On OBS, they make it go black? Because you're like, you can't stream these. I think they don't let you stream YouTube TV from it. That's so weird. That's stupid. Okay, so let's just go to regular YouTube. I heard it pretty well, though, I think. Did you guys hear that little bit of sound? Heard a little bit of it? If you heard a little bit of it. Yep, you heard it? Okay, perfect. All right, so let's play a different clip then. Let's play a different one that I have. So they don't let you do YouTube TV, I guess because of copyright stuff, but StreamYard lets you do that, which is weird. But they're not showing that in this one. All right, so yeah, let's do the NVIDIA one. This is one of the clips that I want to see. Let's listen to this one, and then we'll keep going from there. It's because of HDCC. It's a copyright stopper. Yeah, that seems like the case. Now, let's see if that happens for a regular YouTube video. Hopefully that doesn't happen. But let's see. Let's see. All right, so let's do this. Okay, we're good. Regular YouTube is good. Here we go.
To the intricacies of this particular investigation regarding a deal made years ago.
Yeah, this was a bit of a surprise. We got this news last night from state television in China, where CCTV disclosed that the agency SAMR has opened this probe into NVIDIA and what it calls potentially anti-monopolistic behavior. It's a little curious because, as you say, they're focused in, or they mentioned specifically, a deal that they did 4 years ago to buy a company called Mellanox. It's a company in Israel that makes networking equipment. China had to approve that deal when NVIDIA decided to do it, and they did approve it, as you mentioned, in 2020, but they did with 7 different conditions about NVIDIA's behavior going forward. That included giving customers in China access to product information from Mellanox and product access for NVIDIA's own chips. Now, it's not exactly clear what they're going to dig into in this case, but as you noted, NVIDIA has been this company at the heart of the U.S.-China conflicts over technology. Washington has cut off NVIDIA's ability to sell its most advanced chips into China, so they're really at the heart of this conflict between the two biggest economies in the world.
Now, it's worth noting that the U.S. Justice Department itself is looking for information to NVIDIA and potentially violating antitrust laws. It's not the only country investigating NVIDIA, but set the context of what other companies are being focused in on this tit for tat, because Micron, for example, is having difficulty with its relationship with China. This just does seem to be around the context of China trying to be one up on what it and respond to the US limitations of technology into its country.
Yeah, as you say, the anti-monopoly concerns around NVIDIA are quite broad. It's not just China, it's also the United States. France here has taken a look at it. That's because they have essentially a monopoly, 100% share, almost 100% share in the most advanced chips to train AI models. But you're exactly right. Also, there's this broader trade conflict that we've seen that creates all sorts of problems for companies in between the US and China. NVIDIA still sells a lot of chips into China. It had sold more in the past, but 2 years ago we got this news that Washington was going to cut off their ability to sell the most high-end AI chips used to train AI models. Those restrictions have been steadily tightened since then, so NVIDIA has suffered because of that. But it's beyond that, too. It's the chip equipment makers that have been restrained. ASML here in Europe has been restrained from selling their most advanced gear. So in response, Beijing has taken a number of actions now. We're seeing them retaliate in certain kinds of ways where they cut off a couple of minerals that are very important to the chip industry and the defense industry, in particular, gallium and germanium. So they're beginning to show that they also have some cards to play, some levers to pull in this broader trade.
So this is basically China fighting back. Palantir right here, 74.85. This is China fighting back. This is China saying, hey, if you guys won't let our company sell into your place and you want to threaten us with tariffs, we're going to make NVIDIA's life kind of hell. Now, granted, NVIDIA doesn't do the most amount of business in China. It was less than 1% of their revenues a year ago. I think it's now like maybe 3 to 4%. It's not a big amount, but it hurts them when they're trying to meet their guidance, right? Every dollar counts. So this is kind of a little bit of China backlash in the context of NVIDIA to try to hit them where it hurts. Tesla's still holding on to 404 right here. SoFi 1571, Lockheed Martin 511, Snapchat's down. Palantir 7482. Palantir's holding up like a champ at 75, bro. I mean, fell all the way to 7105 yesterday. We are not going below 60, at least not right now, or below 70. Robinhood 3968. Robinhood's getting hit right now because Bitcoin back down. Why are people selling Bitcoin, bro? I don't get it. Like just chill out, bro. Can we just get above 100? Like, it's so annoying. We got above 100 and now we're doing this like back and forth game with it. And we're seeing this sell up here. I don't think it's the quantum computing stuff. I think that was yesterday. I think right now it's just people selling to sell. But you got Bitcoin right here, 96,000 right now. That's affecting all the other crypto stocks. MicroStrategy 366. That's getting hit as well. Currently right now. Alibaba's getting hit. China's getting hit again. China had one good day and gave back all of it, bro. One freaking good day and gave back all of it. Plus, Russia's buying. Yeah, there is an argument that Russia's going to start a Bitcoin reserve. There was a bunch of news articles yesterday that said Russia's thinking about it. If it happens, that would be interesting. But we will see. Did you see him on Portnoy? Yeah, Saylor was on Portnoy. Let me actually pull that up. That was fun seeing Saylor on Portnoy. Because, dude, Portnoy, like, just doesn't... Portnoy just, like, he's just curious about everything. And he just wants to know, like, how do you justify a lot of stuff? And having Saylor there was actually really interesting. So here's Saylor kind of explaining to Portnoy what he's getting wrong about Bitcoin.
Michael showed up about 20 minutes ago, and I want to wait. Look at the setup we got here. I want what we talked about because we have the video of the Winklevosses telling me Eli Musk is going to outer space and raining gold down. Confused me. I sold it. You just buy 400-something thousand Bitcoins with your company and you. So if I want to know what I got wrong about Bitcoin, or explain it so I understand it finally.
Yeah, I think let's talk about it in sports metaphors. It's like, first of all, there's some games that you can't play, you got to watch. And if you're just watching the game and the team wins, that means your season tickets are going to get more expensive next year. But there are other games you can play. You go into a casino and you play the game, but you know the game's rigged against you. There are some games where the house wins, you're not winning. And Satoshi created a game that's rigged in favor of the individual.
Is he a real person?
Satoshi is a real person.
Do you know who he is?
Gone but not forgotten.
Do you know who that person is?
We're all Satoshi. We're all Satoshi now, Dave.
Okay.
Right? The most important thing to know is that, like Prometheus gave us fire to warm you up, Satoshi gave us a game we can all win, right? And Bitcoin is that game. It's, there are certain things where, like, you don't want to be on a network where they can censor what you say and they can freeze your account. Bitcoin is a monetary network where it won't censor where you send your money. It won't freeze your account. And it's engineered in such a way that on the margin, you're winning the game over time. So think of it like, wouldn't it be great if you had a basketball team and you had LeBron James, and you had Michael Jordan, and you had the digital version of them, and they played forever, and you could get on the court and play with them, and they're scoring 100 points, and you're scoring 2 points, but you're all getting rich together, and you're all winning together. That's what Bitcoin is like. It's like everybody gets to play. Everywhere in the world I go, there's like a fan club. There's hundreds of millions of people that are on Team Bitcoin. You should join Team Bitcoin. The 100 million fans would be rooting for you. And the great thing about it is you don't just win the game, you get wealthy while you're winning the game.
There you go. There's Saylor on Bitcoin. I think a lot of you guys A lot of you guys are just like, he's talking his shit. He is, dude. He's one of the greatest salesmen ever. I mean, to get the world to buy into Bitcoin, you have to be one of the best salesmen ever. And he is. I would argue that he is. Okay, so I think that is pretty much it for the stream, guys. We are coming up on almost, when did we start? Basically 2 hours right here. I'm sorry for all the technical difficulties this morning. I did oversleep, but I was saved with the excuse of StreamYard not working. That's kind of crazy, right? Like, I thought I was going to have to take the walk of shame today. Just like, sorry, guys, I overslept. But instead, I get to shift blame to StreamYard because it was kind of their fault for all of this happening. No, but I don't know why. Dude, I don't know if I had a dream last night or something, but you know what? You know what? It was weird yesterday. Today felt like a Saturday to me. I know that's the lamest excuse ever, but like today and on Saturdays, you know, I tend to sleep in like 9, 10:30 a.m. And I don't know what it was. I don't know what happened last night. That kind of, you know, I think I figured it out. I do Palantir Weekly on a Friday night, and then I wake up late on Saturday because that show goes until like 12 a.m., or usually 1 a.m. because we started at 11. I did Robinhood Weekly on a Monday night, and it probably made me feel like, oh, this is the end of the week because we're doing a weekly episode, and therefore, you know, the next day is a Saturday. I really think that's kind of what happened, bro. Because it really, like, I woke up today at like 7:30, but I didn't think much of it, and then I just went back to sleep. And I think it's because I felt like it was a Saturday. And then I wake up at like 8:50, and I'm like, oh shoot, I'm late. And then StreamYard messes up, and then we can't get the stream. So it was just a whole mess this morning. But we got the show going, and I think that was the reason, to be honest, for why I woke up late. But nonetheless, we got it going. Thank you all for being here. We will be back on the market close. We will have Technical Tuesday. I am pretty sure StreamYard is fixing this problem. If not, then I will figure out how to stream on a different piece of software. I think there's another one called Streamlabs. I'll just get a free trial to them today. And we'll get Jason joining the show. And we will do Technical Tuesday. Rodeau says Amit is the master of bullshitting. It sounds like bullshit, bro, but it really did feel like it was the end of the week. And I don't know why, but maybe it's because we had a weekly. Blaming Hood Weekly, yes. Blaming Hood Weekly. All right, so that's it. Tesla 403, Palantir holding up at 75. Do we have any earnings after the bell today? Let me see if we have any earnings. We'll have Technical Tuesday today. We'll have a bunch of companies we're looking at. We have AutoZone and GameStop today. That'll be fun. AutoZone and... Oh, no, we already had AutoZone. Okay, so how did AutoZone do? AutoZone, we already had AutoZone. What's their ticker? AZO? They're up 1%. All right. AutoZone was up. We'll get their numbers. I'll share their numbers on the market close, but AutoZone's up 1%. GameStop after the bell. We'll take a look at what's happening with GameStop. And then, yeah, we'll do Technical Tuesday, and we'll have plenty of stocks to look at the technicals for and keep going from there. That's it. All right, folks. Thank you, everybody. Yeah, we'll be back. If not StreamYard, we'll use something else, but I think StreamYard will be fixed. If it doesn't get fixed, then we will figure out what we need to do. Word of the day. Let's end it off on word of the day. This was definitely how I felt this morning. Word of the day is addle.
Addle.
To make or become confused. To make or become confused. The complicated furniture manual addled my thoughts. I couldn't make sense of a single step. A lack of sleep can addle your decision-making capabilities. Let me tell you, I was pretty damn addled when I was getting into my spiel in the morning, explaining why I was late, and then everyone was like muted. I thought you guys were messing with me, bro, when you guys were saying muted. I thought all of you guys just wanted to mess with me even more. And then I was like, oh no, like they actually can't hear me. Like this is an issue. But that's okay. We got the show to do what we had to do. All right, that's it. I'll see you guys on the market close. We will definitely be live. If not on StreamYard or OBS, we will be live in some way. And Jason will join probably at like 4 o'clock, 4:05. And then we'll have a good 2.5 hours of all the technicals that we need to look at in the market. Permanent condition of a mid. The Adler. All right. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it. I'll see you guys at 3:45. Thank you all for joining, even with the technical difficulties. Again, really appreciate it. I hate when this stuff kind of happens. It's super annoying, but you know, you guys still showed up, and that means the world to me. So thank you all for being here, and we'll be back for the market close, and we'll get into Technical Tuesday. Bye, everyone.